Lone Wolf, I'm here. wolfterritoriesgrid.org. Am I recording? Yeah, am I on? Yeah, I'm on. Okay, so welcome to the United States of America. As you know, most of my servers, actually all my servers, are sitting in Dusseldorf in Germany on a couple of Proxmox clusters with some nice object storage. And so we've started to look at expanding the grid out. So we have a distributed grid across the world. It makes it faster, so if people are accessing it from the States, they can have their regions in the States, and the data obviously moves across. So I just thought I'd fill you in on our experiments so far. Yesterday we loaded a customer very kindly lent me his region, and we loaded his region on the American server, and the object storage was dismally slow. And the thing is, I'm hosting my own object storage with Minio. Many of you have been watching my videos and things like that. And the problem was that the ping times between here and the object storage were so slow that it was really a little bit painful. It worked. I mean, it was about the same speed as other grids. You know, when you go to a grid and it reses very slowly, it was about that speed, and that's not good enough for me. You know, I need things to go very quickly. Testing ongoing. So the database connections to the database, if it's in Germany, that's not really a problem, but I'm probably going to move the database into the cloud as well. Databases into the cloud to do this. But what was really impressed, so I looked around for some object storage providers, and the cost was going to be incredibly high for some of them. Good old, you know, who shall remain nameless. So just going to get a new tab up here. So I was looking at Cloudflare. I used Cloudflare to store my domains, and just to give you an idea, if I ping, I can't remember my Cloudflare address. This isn't good, is it? Well, if I'm going to tell you rather than show you. So if I ping the Cloudflare date, I mean, basically you can specify with Cloudflare where most of your data will be pulled from, but I've not actually given it that setup in the bucket. I've just told it to in the asset store bucket. What I've done is I've told it that with the asset store bucket, I'm not going to tell it where most of the data is going to come from. So as we build up the United States cluster and the German cluster, it should sort of balance things out. Ping times from the state server to the Cloudflare object storage is 1.2 milliseconds, which isn't as good as I get from the German servers to the German object storage. But the thing is, it's 1.2 milliseconds wherever you are. I don't know what the performance is going to be like yet. Again, this is all a test. But unfortunately, to test it, I've got to make a complete backup of the, not a complete backup, but a live sync of the object store. For those of you who don't know about object storage, it's not like normal storage, because you can actually keep object stores in sync with each other. So you can actually, so for instance, one of the issues that with OpenSim, of course, is that when you get a bit low on disk space with your assets, what do you do? Well, you've got to set up another drive somewhere with more disk space and copy all your assets across, and then people are sitting there as your grid is down for 3 weeks while you wait to copy, or even longer. Certain, you know, I remember when we 10 terabytes of assets, you can't really do that. It's just, you know, you wouldn't see it in a commercial situation. You wouldn't see a bank going offline for 5 weeks while they transfer data. You know, sorry, your bank account's not available to transfer data. I don't want that here. Wolf Territories Grid, the idea is the thing stays online all the time. Okay, it's just basically online all the time. The only time we do anything really is rolling restarts. There's very few server restarts because it's all Linux based. I shouldn't need to restart the servers more than once a year. And also, the more servers you have, the more of a pain it gets to restart everything, which is quite essential to sort out. The way that this grid is structured now, so if I pull up my this is this is the oh, there is that, actually that's what I need. Okay, I'm just going to grab that for a sec. So this is actually the data that's come across this morning in the last hour. We're up to let's just refresh that page, see where we're up to now. It's about 5,500 gig, I think, the Minio object store now, so it's still loading, just waiting. It's done 38k of Class A operations. Class B operations, they cost more, but that's because I'm uploading at the moment. But the actual overall cost of running the grid every month is not going to be very much. It's really not. In fact, it's going to be cheaper than having the current situation where I've got actual servers. This is our control panel, by the way. In case you hadn't seen it, it's got all kinds of tricks. So this is my USA test. You can see it's at USA. You can see it here. That last thing tells you where it is. So if you go to look at other regions here, the ones that are just called regions 3, region 6, they're in Düsseldorf in Germany. And if I just search for anything USA, Lone Wolf Test USA, this one here, this one is actually in the States. This is actually in the USA. So basically, by distributing servers around the world, it'll give customers the choice. So what you'll also have is here, you'll have a box that says region location, and you'll be able to choose America, Germany, Japan, wherever we end up putting servers. And the way I can do this is I can actually deploy a server out wherever I like. I don't need to do backups and restores. I've got basically 2 scripts. I install an empty Debian VM on Proxmox. In fact, I'll show you. Here it is. This is one of the clusters I've got. So basically, everything you're looking at here is oh, look at that one. That's regions 11. It's always doing this. Nothing to worry about. It sits there all the time like that. So that's the American server, and then the rest of these are in Düsseldorf in Germany. Okay, and so I can access these off-site storage. This is the current object storage here. See that I've got the current object storage. You see, it looks like they're empty, but they're actually got 500 gig of assets sitting in them. So that's the American one there. Pretty cool. But that server I can basically build with 2 scripts. So because nothing critical is stored on these servers, nothing, not a thing. All right, it's all stored. It's basically there are some critical points on the grid that we have to watch out for, but actually these Proxmox containers are very, very lightweight. I can throw them away and set up another one. I can move regions between Proxmox containers just by simply changing some database stuff, basically telling it where in the database it should go. There's a lot. It's very, very powerful. So the plan is basically to summarize. So what I'm doing is I'm moving from having one object storage server with all the assets on that is mirrored to another object storage with all the assets on in Germany, to using cloud object storage from Cloudflare, who run all the DNS around the world just about, and they're very, very good with DNS, and they seem to have got their object storage does look very, very good. So and it's not that expensive. So yeah, if you want to move down that road and you'd like some help, I love object storage. I love talking about it. There you can watch my asset store being mirrored. So again, this is all taking ages. It will take probably a couple of days, maybe. I know it says ETA 9 minutes, but it's not. It's really not. It's going to take a couple of days, and what I'll know when it's actually transferred most of it across, and then the USA server the USA region server will be pointing at the new object storage. This is the other cool thing about object storage, is because you could mirror them, okay, and you can have them syncing all the time. Yeah, I can actually test the new object storage in the States, and then I'll set up a little region server over in Germany, test the region server over there, load the same OR onto both regions, and then just see what the difference is in speed, whether it's noticeable, to see, to really do some scientific testing to make sure that this is a good move for the grid. I'm hoping it is, because if it is, it's going to be cheaper to run than having to rent 2 servers. Actually 3. We've got another object storage server as well. That's just for backup, so we don't do much with it. It's just a huge server with 5.5 terabytes of disk space or something like that. That will probably move as well, but there's a little bit of things going with downloading all files, which uses a piece of software, and I don't know whether it's going to work, so this is a whole nother story. But what I would like to do is eventually have all the objects, all the assets, all the backups, everything sitting on Cloudflare object storage, distributed across the world. If you don't know much about object storage, do go and have a look at my other videos. The thing about object storage is that you can lose whole servers and disks, and the thing is just stays up. It's really very, very, very cool. There are companies you shouldn't use for object storage. Please come and see me about that. I don't want to badmouth any companies here, but I've had some pretty terrible experiences with some quite big companies. But Cloudflare, they're pretty cool. I do my DNS there, and I'm going to look at some of their other products as well, and see where we can, if there's other ways that I can make the grid more international, so that wherever in the world you log into it, you get really high speed. I'm looking to build this big. I'm looking to have, I'd like to see 5,000 to 10,000 users, maybe even more in the future, with just a massive grid, just running really, really fast for people, and So that's that really. Sorry, I've waffled a bit. I did do a bit of waffling. If you'd like to rent some land at Wolf Territories Grid and be part of this amazing adventure, go to shop.wtgrid.net. We've got 1 region packs, 2 region packs, and these are all 4x4 regions that are linked together, because this whole grid, one of the ethos of it is that, although it's so huge, if you like privacy, it's really easy. Okay, you literally, it's so big. This grid is over 1,000. Let's give the stats up. Let's get the stats. It's 21,536 second life regions. Okay, so those of you in second life know what I mean. Each region comes with 1.2 million prims. Yes, that's 1.2 million. So one region is 16 second life sims, but it's in one region with 1.2 million prims. You will love having the terrain generators. In fact, this terrain I generated about 10 minutes ago. This is all mathematically generated. We've got some nice mountains in the corner, and there's the USA flag to remind me this region is in the States. This is nearly the end of my sales pitch. I think I've got everything. So shop.wtgrid.net. If you'd like to join the grid and just have a wander around, you're very, very welcome. You can teleport in from other grids. And don't forget OpenSimSocial.com as well. The Mastodon server, very exciting project there. So grid.wolfterritories.org, or you can go to www.wolf-grid.com, and that will take you through to the place where you can get everything. And I'm really waffling badly today. I'm really sorry. But if you want to talk to me about object storage and about how you use it on your grid and making progress and all that sort of thing, please give us a shout. Thanks very much, and signing off.